Okay, so hello and welcome everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Stephen Ruisi, and I just wanted to talk to you guys today about a few suggestions that I had for improving relationships between the faculty and the middle school population. I think there's a lot that we can do to reach out better, make the coursework more enjoyable, and allow the students to have a better experience in the school. There was a couple things I wanted to talk about. The first one that I was going to cover was how we're doing assessments. So, assessing the children overall is following a very traditional structure in which we assess children based on a 0 out of 100 scale related to their performance on very traditional forms of assessments, Scantron, multiple choice, that sort of thing. And I think we could improve upon this greatly and reach children of, different sorts of intelligence types. I recently have been going over some of the teachings of Howard Gardner and his philosophies regarding multiple intelligences and how not all children have strengths in the same areas academically as others do. Some children really struggle to learn in a conventional, logical, mathematical, or linguistic structure. Other children have strengths artistically, strengths musically. Some children have what they call bodily kinesthetic strengths, or more of a inclination towards nature. And when we lump all of these children together in the same sort of assessment structure, it can leave those of alternate intelligences feeling that they don't fit the model and feeling that their performance is subpar and always will be. So I think one of the most important things that we can do is devise a way in which we can more fairly assess the student population. If you were to, teach a unit on, my specialization is science. If you were to teach a course about cell biology, and you want all the kids to take a Scantron test, or a couple of constructed answers, I think that students of alternate intelligences would benefit with more flexibility in the way that we assess them. So if a student was more, artistically inclined, in order to convey that they are aware of the concept, we can have them draw a picture. We can have them, come up with a flow chart, a drawn flow chart, describing all the aspects of what we covered in the class. Or if, someone is more nature smart, have a more natural intelligence, we can have them pick out from the environment, somewhere in nature. They can collect samples of leaves or other forms of organisms that represent a concept that we covered in the lesson, as opposed to just the old-fashioned multiple choice test, which they may, not feel comfortable taking, and it really doesn't speak to their capabilities as a whole. Another idea that I had and ways that we can improve our how we handle the population and how we assess them is through just an overhaul of our entire curriculum. The curriculum of the school has been, and of all schools in the United States, has been very rigid, and the subject matter is very discrete, in that you have sort of the compartmentalization of several different aspects of learning, math and science and history. One is in one room and one is in the other, and never the twain shall meet. And this is putting children at a disadvantage, because the whole point of education is for children to be able to apply what they learn to the real world, and the real world is not as discrete as education shapes it out to be. There's been numerous programs implemented in other schools throughout the nation, such as the Soundings program or the Alpha Team, which build an integrative curriculum where a common theme is picked for the semester or the year, and that theme is kind of intertwined with every subject. And I feel that if we were able to implement a strategy similar to that, the children would be able to make connections between the classes and be able to more readily apply the material more effectively, I think. And another thing about curriculum that's important is, and I think that our population might benefit from, is for allowing for some amount of flexibility to the curriculum, as in letting the children decide what they want to learn, what they find interesting. You know, you could do the same demo every year for a certain topic or a certain curriculum, and some kids might find it interesting and some kids might find it mundane. And if you're using the same exact topic to reach different, unique individuals every year, that's obviously going to leave some people left out, and it's going to obviously leave some people unengaged, less engaged than they would have been. So by presenting numerous options of material which we could cover and kind of allowing them to choose what they find more interesting, we can do interest inventories and discuss with them and find what piques their interest and use that, build our curriculum around that, in order to not only teach them something they find fascinating, but to also instill, democratic ideals into them, and to let them know that they have a voice within the school, and that, this isn't just a teacher-centric model of learning. The students play a big role. This is about them at the end of the day, and we want them to feel like that they can tell us what they want, what they're interested in, and they can take that knowledge and apply it to the real world. And it's a knowledge that they'll probably absorb more readily, since it's something that they're fascinated in. These are all major improvements that I think could improve our population, how we handle the population. But the last aspect that I wanted to talk about from more of a behavioral standpoint and improving how we handle the behavior of the adolescents in our school is to take a deeper look at the neurological development faced by adolescents. And there's been a lot of studies out in the in the past decade or so, linking development of the prefrontal cortex in adolescence to behavior which society sort of deems erratic or irrational. And I think it's important for everybody to understand that these youths are not acting in a way that we deem irrational on purpose, but this is just sort of a symptom, or I don't want to say symptom, I don't want to make it sound like there's a problem with them, but more of a result of the development that they're undergoing. And this may go over the heads of a lot of teachers. I know a lot of people don't really look into neurological development. It's a daunting topic, and I for one find it pretty complex. Science, biology are my content area, and even I think can consider it to be a bit confusing at times, but I think it's important for all the teachers to look into neurological development and the behavioral results, the behavioral aspects that can precipitate from neurological development, and to consider that when dealing with unruly students or students who are acting out, and not be so harsh to jump to reprimanding and punishing them. A suggestion that I've heard from other people is to have teachers of every sort, every specialization and content field, kind of go into a clinical setting and learn more about neurological development with clinicians who are actively studying it. There's fellowships that exist for the specific reason, and I think everyone in the school, all members of the faculty, could benefit greatly from earning a greater understanding of how the brain develops and how it can affect behavior. Another thing that I wanted to touch upon was that there's been a lot of studies in recent years which link just overall school performance and decision making to self-esteem and the ideas of self-content, clarity, and how we have youths, adolescents struggling with their identity, and this can really affect how they behave and how they think of themselves and how they get along with others. There's been numerous team building activities in programs implemented in schools around the country that are able to build group cohesion within middle schoolers and help them to identify, who they are and build clarity about, where they fit in the world and where everybody else fits. And I think this is really an enlightening sort of experience for the kids, and it can help them to understand others, better understand themselves. And by instilling a sense of self clarity, we can build their self-esteem and help them perform better overall. And those are just a couple of suggestions that I have on improving, how we, get along with the population in the school and how we can improve their experience. And I'm, really eager to hear what you guys think. And I just want to thank you again for joining me today. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.